This is my first experience of working with Peelply. I've done lots of stuff with epoxy. I've kind of got to know it quite well now. And I've heard about Peelply, which is this fabricy stuff. And I'll show you what it does on the other side in a minute. I've already done this side with the Peelply. And what you do is you build up your layers of epoxy to create the waterproof barrier. Now, there's two ways of layering the plywood, the epoxy. You lay on, and then you allow it to go tacky, like masking tape. So you should be able to touch it, and it feels sticky, but without leaving a residue on your finger. And then you put another layer on, and you do the same layer, and you build up like a sandwich of these epoxy layers. The other way is to let it completely set, and then you have to clean it of this stuff, which is like, it's called anime blush, or amine blush. It looks like anime blush in the words, but you have to clean it off because it's like a waxy residue. You clean it off with soap and water or other cleaning material, which I'm not that familiar with it. I've come across it sort of weird, oily, waxy stuff, but then other times it's been like pure wax, and I can't tell if it is anime blush or not. So in order to avoid the anime blush, because if you've got this blush stuff, the next layer that you put down on top of it won't adhere. So the point is you've got to give a nice surface for. So if you're not doing a chemical bond by adding layers on top of the masking tape tackiness, which they all work as one unit, they set together. That's called chemical bonding, from what I gather. So if you're not doing a chemical bond, you're doing a mechanical bond by gluing the next layer of epoxy on top, one at a time. And in order to do that, you've got to eliminate the anime blush, and then you've got to give it a key to work to. So you would then sand it. Now, of course, sanding removes material. And, you know, you put material down, you don't really want to lose material you've been putting down. So that's where this stuff comes in. Now, with this layer, what I've done on bulkhead starboard side 5, because it's a small bit, I thought it'd be a good one to experiment and test on. I've done the chemical bonding layers. I've gone and on the last layer, I just simply got a piece of this Peelply and laid it down. And then you leave it set. Now I've heard you can leave it for ages. I mean, like this side, you can see I've left it. You can leave it from what I gather, you can leave it for indefinitely. But I wanted to see what it's like to come off, and this is fascinating. So if you actually look at this Peelply material, microscopic. It's nylon, I think. I've heard it's got a release agent. I don't know if it's got a release agent on it or not. But these little fine strands, they're microscopic, almost like the fiberglass. But they're nylon, and they don't apparently bond to the epoxy. And because it's microscopic, look at that. That finish is quite abrasive. It's like if you've ever felt a cat tongue, you know, the texture is like quite coarse. You can feel, even in this picture, you can roughly see the material texture. And this is what I really got to show you. Ready? I'm going to peel this. It does get on there quite well.